Hello and welcome to Discovering Grayslake, unveiling the stories and people that make our town so unique. I'm your host, David Wool, and I'm thrilled to bring you this new podcast that explores fascinating stories and experiences of local business owners and community leaders, right here where we call home. Grayslake Rehabilitation Center is a community-based private practice physical therapy provider. Do you know they have 13 clinical providers with various levels of specialties, including orthopedics, sports, neurology, vestibular, geriatrics, pelvic floor, and aquatic? What? Did I just say they have a pool? Well, they do, and it's the largest indoor warm water pool in Lake County, featuring 2 underwater treadmills and swim currents. And recently added clinical treatment specialties, in layman's terms, shockwave. They have both radial and focus units that are the newest tool in regenerative medicine, available to everyone. They pride themselves on the most current and up-to-date specialized care to keep you moving. If you're looking for physical therapy, make sure to see our friends at Grayslake Rehabilitation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of Discovering Grayslake. I am recording here again today live from, well, it's recorded, but we're recording live, right? At Agora, which is on the corner of Atkinson and Center Street. We'd like to give a big shout out to Luke and the staff here for letting me record. Appreciate you guys. If you guys are looking to get your business out of the home for a day, for a week, or even a lifelong home, Agora is an excellent choice. A great, cool working place. So today, I was really super happy, but not all podcasts I look forward to recording, but today we get to talk baseball. So we're going to talk GYBA. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Dave. I'm Matt Weber. I'm the chairman of GYBA.
Thanks, Dave. Tim Mueller, the president of GYBA.
All right, so how baseball in general, I don't know anybody listening that has had a child go through any kind of baseball program. There's many things from starting really young as we work up through everything, and we all hear about baseball drama and decisions that need to be made and everything like that. So today, one of the reasons I say it's springtime, it's almost springtime, and we have some really exciting things coming up. I want to talk about like how the program works, some special things, and a lot of things people might not know. So first of all, how long have you guys been on the board?
I think I'm 6 years in. I've been a bit of a jack of all trades. I was the tournament director, the sponsorship director, the Pinto director, the Bronco director, and presently the chairman, which is the chairman doesn't do anything. The chairman is sort of a administrative oversight role. The folks that are actually doing the jobs have a lot more to do. So well, I think 6 years, maybe 7 years, but somewhere in there.
Well, so your salary has really gone up.
Yeah, it does. It's incremental.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
So I've been on the board for 9 years. Also have held a variety of roles, some of which I think we've gotten rid of, and I don't know if that's because I did such a bad job or we got it right sized or we don't need that role anymore.
Efficiency.
But, efficiency, right. And then I took over the presidency role when Jeff Woods moved on to RBC full time. Followed in some great footsteps with a lot of great board members, and really excited that we've had the opportunity to kind of tweak things and continue to make the organization better.
Right. And like this with a lot of different people we talk about in town, it's like the board, obviously these are volunteer positions that you guys have taken, and your heart and soul in it. Basically, you love baseball, you love to watch everybody develop through everything. So I want to start, too, because we have very important things coming up. At the date of this recording, we're in February, and this should be coming out, and I think that registrations are on the way, and then we have some other things. So let's talk about dates really quick. What should we be registering for right now, and other things to expect?
Yeah, so super helpful question. Registration is open now. It's gybaonline.org. It's open at any time. You can email us if you have any questions. All the contact info is on the website, but registrations are open now. The most common question that I get is, oh my gosh, we can't make it to Evaluation Day, which, by the way, is Sunday, February 23rd at Grayslake Central High School. We can't make it to Evaluation Day. Can we still play? Or we didn't see this till after evaluations happen. Can we still play? Absolutely, yes. It helps us greatly if you would register now as opposed to waiting, because probably the biggest extra cost we incur is rush uniforms that come up late because people want to join. And honestly, we don't turn people away until we get to a point where the teams are unsustainable or we don't have enough coaches to cover. We'll just continually add teams. So, it's for everybody. We have first-time players at every age, every year. So, let us know if you have questions, but now is the time to start registering.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think to add on to that is it is an evaluation date. Misconception is everybody says it's a tryout. There is no tryouts. It's really to help us as an organization get some scores on kids, see where they're at. We realize it's a moment in time. Most kids have not picked up a glove or a bat in months, right? With the winter weather, and they're playing other sports, which we encourage. But it helps us right-size teams. So that way we can get a competitive level of baseball out there in the spring, and people are learning and developing.
Yes, because spring baseball and fall baseball are obviously different, even from watching the players, but from a spectator point of view too, right? Because fall baseball seems to be either people moving up to another league or much more developmental.
Well, so the one thing fall has going for it is the weather's always better. So when you join GYBA, just know that everything you're going to do in April is going to get washed out. Whereas fall, we have very, very few weather problems. But yeah, fall is really very casual, right? So we don't even do an eval. The teams are sort of put together based on past knowledge and, kind of finger to the wind, so to speak. So it's meant to be fun in fall. It can be a little unbalanced at times. We're always seeking for parity, as Tim just mentioned. Like, best case scenario is if every team goes 500.
Right.
We're not always going to achieve that, but that's our goal. So spring is a little more formal. Teams are selected via draft, and we still try as best we can. We have the world's oldest macro-enabled spreadsheet, which is taking those eval scores and reordering the draft as we go through it. So I guarantee you the numbers will match. It doesn't mean the talent will always match, but we are doing our best.
Right, and like you say, those evals are taken on one day.
Right.
Moment in time.
Right.
Yep.
Yes. We're taking a quick break just to say hello because everybody knows Nano. And Nano knows real estate. And actually, I believe that's the name of her Instagram page. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or know somebody in the market for a home, contact Nano from Baird & Warner. She's a Grayslake girl helping out Grayslake people.
Right.
But those are all done inside.
Right. The spring evals are inside.
Okay. I'm glad that you said that the evals are held at Grayslake Central. Mm-hmm. One, I think, common misconception that I'd like you guys to speak on is it's Grayslake Youth Baseball Organization. So North kids, Central kids, who is GYBA for?
Yeah, well, so this is kind of a big topic, so we can both jump in on this. As pertains to evals, we hold them at both high schools sort of based on availability, and both high schools support us greatly with gym space. And we used to do 2 separate dates, one at each. It gets a little unwieldy, and we've just found that, it's a lot to commit 2 entire days. In terms of who should be playing GYBA, everyone, right? So I'll let Tim sort of talk about the path and the tracks that occur as you get a little older. But GYBA is not centered on one high school or the other. We are a community-based organization trying to bring in kids from across our area. So if you want to build on that.
Yeah, talk a little bit about kind of what we offer as an organization. We offer in-house. We offer our sliders program, which is a semi-travel program. North 60 is what people commonly refer that to. And then we have our coyotes, right? So we offer 3 different levels for a variety of different folks and where they're at in their development for baseball, maybe what they can afford or what they're willing to do as far as a time commitment is concerned. But like Matt said, we don't care what high school you go to. We truly don't. And I think there's a misconception out there that people care that, you're a Grayslake Central student or a Grayslake North student. We don't ask that question. We don't know that question. We have a tremendous partnership with both Troy Whalen and Eric Lopez at both high schools. They do so much for us. They hold coaching clinics for us. They give us availability in both their gyms. So I currently coach the 12U Coyote team, and we were at Grayslake North this Sunday working. And then, the week before that, we were at Grayslake Central working on Sundays. So great partnerships. Unfortunately, our town, the way the lines were drawn years and years ago, I think 80% of our population for GYBA attends Grayslake Central. Okay. So we do get a little bit of you're Central biased. That's tough to swallow at times because we really, Matt's oldest goes to Grayslake North. My oldest goes to Grayslake Central. Sure. The GYBA board is, really split between North and Central families that run the organization. So, little misconception there, but we really try to focus on this is the development of kids. We don't care what high school you go to.
Yeah, part of the challenge we face, so yeah, my oldest son Henry plays baseball at North and Tim plays at Central, right? So he has teammates that played at Lake Villa, played at Antioch, right? The district is just drawn in such a way that it's a little unbalanced, right? So Lake Villa, to the north of us, is one of the largest youth baseball organizations in the state, right? One of our few true peers in terms of how many kids they put on the field. So we're not exactly drawing kids away from their program, nor would we want to. It's a good, healthy place for them to be playing youth baseball. But what ends up happening is, half of the north team will have come from Lake Villa, and so those are just kids we never touched. So it's often thought of as like exclusionary when it's just sort of a matter of the facts of how the boundaries have been drawn.
Right, and it's not specific to baseball either.
Well,
like everything in town is that, and we don't have anything to do with it.
Right.
You bring up an interesting question that just came to my head because in the fall, we had a couple of kids, and I asked, like, well, where are you guys going to go to high school at? And they said, we're going to go to Warren. Mm-hmm. So is GYBA just for Grayslake people?
No, we're happy. We get kids. So fall in particular, we have a little more formalized fall league than some others do in terms of in-house baseball. And actually in some travel programs, they don't play fall at all. So we've over the years picked up a couple odd travel kids from other communities. So if you're just looking for a way to continue playing baseball during the fall, a lot of times we'll get sort of neighboring communities popping over, Gurney being, one of or Warren kids being one of the strongest groups, or Mundelein we see a lot. But that tends to be just fall, right? And again, if you want to come play GYBA and you live in Antioch or anywhere else, sure, we'd be happy to have you. I think it's an important point to note, though, that the purpose of GYBA is to serve the Grayslake community. So when we get into things like selection of Coyotes or Sliders travel teams, we are focused on offering opportunities to Grayslake players.
Yes. Very good point. I love that. Back in the day, because I'm feeling really old now, even talking to you guys, thinking because I have a little guy in the program now, but my big guy's 20 years old. I think during fall baseball then, we didn't have enough guys for fall league to play, so we'd play Grant 3 times. We'd play Gurney 3 times because we simply didn't have enough kids in the program.
For sure. Yeah.
And your guys' enrollment, to see how many kids you guys put on the field from the Pinto level up, is amazing.
Well, we've actually had to turn away neighboring communities in recent years, right? So even when I first started coaching, we were still doing that. We'll still do it at the pony level because we only field one pony team, so they're playing sort of a community schedule. But yeah, Pinto, Mustang, we've gone to sort of an entirely in-house model because we have such good health at those lower levels. Yeah. So yeah, it's great to be able to keep it all in-house.
It says a lot about the program. It really says.
It really does. We're very healthy with our numbers, and it's a tribute to what a great community we're in. We're a baseball community.
A huge baseball community, and at the same time going on a volunteer basis. Like, you look at all the teams you guys put on the field, and each one of those teams has 2 to 3 different coaches that are volunteering as well.
Well, you look a little bit like a guy I coached against this past fall, Dave.
Yeah, we did. Yes, we tried to do some things in there that we tried to sneak around the some trick plays with you. Yeah, it was fun, and fall was really fun to watch.
So. Yeah,
to watch development levels from all different,
Sure.
And it was nice to see how the coaches played nice together. We had one boy that was his first time on the field, couldn't do anything, and I think a couple of games we coached against you that we gave them opportunities to do things, right?
For sure.
And all these little boys, baseball isn't something you do. Baseball, when you're at this level of what you guys do, it's something we love, eat, breathe, right?
Absolutely.
It's amazing. But also, with that being said, the people get very passionate about this, correct?
We could fill a podcast episode just telling you stories about parent issues.
Yes.
We've gotten a lot better over the years, but it's not perfect, right? And, so both of our sons actually umpire, and I think people maybe sometimes miss this. All of the umpires at Mustang on down are GYBA kids who are kind of seeking first job type stuff.
Right.
So when parents go after umpires, and the umpires are 13-year-old kids that came up in our program, that's something we get a little defensive about.
Absolutely.
Not that you should be yelling at adult umpires either, but,
right.
we're doing our best to sort of model behavior and police parent behavior, and hopefully get it to a point where everyone feels comfortable and safe in these environments.
Sure.
We do get the odd, grandparent showing up where, you're a couple steps removed and they're maybe used to a different level of interaction with officials. So we do our best. The coaches try to protect the kids when out there, but
absolutely.
There's such a shortage of umpires, and I think people don't realize that. And an example that I like using, and I do it at the evaluation when we talk to the parents, is, folks feel entitled to get all over an umpire on a bad call, right? And you've never once seen an umpire walk out to shortstop and say, "Hey, young man, how come you didn't get your glove in the dirt, and why'd you let that one go right through your legs?" But yet we feel entitled to go tell the umpire that they made a mistake. Sure. So it's something we struggle with. I think we've gotten better over the years with it, but sure. It's a focus, because without the umpire, one of us has to leave the dugout to umpire the game, which we don't want to do, right? We want to help coach the kids and develop the kids. Or we have to have a parent do it, and they don't want to do it, right?
I think
so
all the complaining parents should ump once. Just once. And I tell you one thing that I will never do. I will never umpire a game, because I do not want that kind of responsibility. Because every call you make, half the people are going to be pissed and the other half are going to be happy, right?
Yep.
So it's hard to do.
I mean, I've done it. I've filled in as an umpire and I've made terrible calls. It's not an easy thing to do.
It's not.
Nope.
It's not an easy thing. So this is a shout out too, that anybody listening, especially young men, young women that are out there, anybody that wants to get involved to help the organization by umpiring, get a hold of either one of you, and get signed up for
absolutely.
umpiring.
It's a great job for kids to start. And one of the problems we run into is all of our umpires are baseball players, right? And so the vast majority of them are high school baseball players. And, if we have 7 umpires in the pool and they're all on the freshman team at Grayslake North, they have the same schedule. Right. So none of them are available this weekend when we need folks for games. Right. So, if you played baseball years ago and want to get into umpiring, it's a great little job to have. There's a good way to make money. We pay very well.
You do.
So
yeah, my son's umpired a lot, and he's like, "Look at the umpire money I got. This is great." And I always tell these kids too that as they're growing, like, it's a great way to stay into a game that you love, right? Even as you grow up, like Max just got patched, and I'm like, dude, for the rest of your life, through all of the stuff, you can go and you can umpire baseball. You could still be in doing something you love. It's a good skill to learn, and
absolutely,
you can have a great part-time job, and people are making full-time jobs out of it.
And a lot of the kids at like the Pinto Mustang level, when you have a Grayslake North or Central baseball player come over and they're umpiring a game, these kids look up to them.
Hey neighbors, this is Bill Mock with the Grayslake Chamber of Commerce. And if you're looking for a network of hard-working, customer-focused, and generally friendly local businesses who are dedicated to helping each other succeed, then I'd like to invite you to check out and consider joining our Grayslake Chamber. We offer our members so many ways to advance their businesses through social networking events, special event sponsorships, informative lunch and learns, and the ever-popular after-hours mixers. Come see why we say we're the new wave of business here in Lake County.
They think that it's the coolest thing ever. So you have such a positive impact on the game, but also the kids that are there. It's remarkable.
It is cool, and a testament to the whole GYBA program all the way through high school, through everything that these kids look up like. These guys are superstars.
Well, it's one of the coolest things about being in a community like this, right? So I have Henry, my oldest, who's gone through the program. Now I've started over. I actually have a Pinto kid currently, and all of the umpires that show up are kids that I've either coached or coached against, right? So you see these kids who are, 10 years older than they were when you saw them the last time, and it's a very fulfilling thing to have that come full circle.
I like watching the umpires come out and their parents come and sit behind, and they like rooting on their son like they're playing. They got their water out there, and they're like making sure.
It's actually more stressful than watching them play. My son,
100%.
My son George plays hockey and also refs, and they get on the refs quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's more stressful to watch them ref than it is to watch them play. It's unbelievable.
Okay, so let's do this. So one thing that I forget to do a lot is I forget to state the obvious of things. So if we could we walk through the programs that we have in age groups? So if somebody's like on the fence right now of signing up, they don't know which league their kids are going to be in, a little about sliders, coyotes, like
Well, so a really important point to make, I'll let Tim walk through the levels of travel, but a really important point to make now, I think, is, so the partnership with the Grayslake Park District, right? So the Park District runs T-ball, right? And so we do have sometimes overlaps between T-ball and Pinto, which is our first level. Yep. So the T-ball program is fantastic. It's a great place to start. My kids went through it at like 4 and 5 years old. They do 2 levels. They have a true T-ball, which is hitting the ball off the tee, and then they have a coach pitch level as kids are sort of beginning to learn how to track the baseball and hit live pitching. We pick up at Pinto, which is typically 1st and 2nd grade. We do have some exceptions, kindergartners who are a little bit in front of their peers maybe, but we try to discourage that when possible. So Pinto starts 1st and 2nd grade, and we're a little unique in that we have a hybrid pitching model at Pinto where we have kids pitching. So a lot of our peer organizations, even nationally, will do machine pitch at that age, or, coach pitch is tough. Like, it's very inaccurate. It's a kid looking at someone who's, twice the size of them. The ball's coming from wonky angles. We don't find it to have been a great teaching model. So in our hybrid model, we do kid pitch. And then once there are 4 balls, we move to a soft toss, which is like a side soft toss. So more the type of thing that you see during practice hitting. So you're getting kind of a consistent release point, a consistent ability to time the baseball. It's more about teaching the swing than anything else. And we're trying to get balls put in play that way, right? So you're also getting the fielders engaged. So Pinto picks up 1st and 2nd grade. Mustang picks up 3rd and 4th grade. So this because we've coached against each other in Mustang, and when we get into Tim's and my rivalry, it began at Mustang baseball. Mustang baseball is the best thing about youth sports. It is 3rd and 4th graders. It's the first time they're playing sort of competitive real baseball. The kids make huge developmental strides during Mustang. It's incredible. But so Mustang is usually our biggest group. Bronco then picks up 5th and 6th grade, and Pony is 7th and 8th grade. And so I'll let Tim introduce sort of where the more competitive levels come in, but from an in-house perspective, it's groups of 2 grade levels.
Okay, so I have a question for you then. Mm-hmm. So when you say Mustang is 3rd and 4th grade, mm-hmm. so coming to sign up for spring, it's what grade your kid is in right now.
Correct.
It's not what they're going into.
Correct.
Because I've had this conversation with other people.
That's a really good point, yes. So we age up in fall, like that's when we do our changeover. So if you are presently in 2nd grade, you're going to sign up for Pinto.
Excellent. Okay. That's
a good point.
Yes, because I'm like, people say, well, he's in 3rd grade now, but he's going into 4th, and this is going to summer baseball.
So let me, not to make too big of a tangent, but This is a really good point, right? If you are trying, we have a lot of parents who think their children are on the ascendant path to higher levels of baseball. If you are a 2nd grader and you think, wow, my kid's going to be hitting bombs at Mustang, I want him to play up, please register for the league that you're age appropriate for, and then reach out to us and we'll flag him during evals. It's much harder to push someone down retroactively than it is to grab someone and pull them up.
Yes. I also wanted to, one point too, that I thought was awesome. One of the things that really made me respect GYBA is back in the day when my son Max was playing, we had a kid on our team, and he was developmentally slower than everyone else, and he was at an age, and we were actually able to move him down a league or keep him for another year, and not even for a playing level, but for safety, right, as a safety thing. Because the difference between Pinto and Mustang is a big safety concern as well, right?
Yeah, and it's a great question, right? So safety is really important to first-time players. And we have first-time players at every age level every year. So even if you're in 7th grade and you think, well, it's too late to try to play baseball, I promise you it's not. And there will be a focus made. Like, I always tell my kids when I coach Pinto teams, everybody's going to play every position, but you can't play first base until you're ready to defend yourself. Right?
Absolutely.
If you can't catch the baseball, I won't put you over there because the ball is coming, right? So, yes, safety is absolutely paramount. So.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to, but it's cool that you guys look at every situation, and parents out there listening to this too, if you have a question and it's concerned whether playing up, playing down, if there's safety concerns, anything like that, communicate with you guys, and you guys are very prompt on getting back to everybody.
Yeah. So when we talk about what we offer as an organization, I think first and foremost, we're a house organization. That's the bulk of our participants. And we want to stay true to that, because you can look across the spectrum in Lake County and there's a tremendous amount of travel organizations. We don't want to be that, right? We don't want to be a Lightning. We don't want to be a Stars. And they run great programs. There's nothing wrong with their programs, but they're focused on travel baseball. We're a house organization that also offers Sliders, which is our semi-travel program, and then Coyotes, which is our full-time travel. So Sliders starts at 9U, and that goes through Bronco, which is the 6th or 7th and 8th graders, if there is enough folks that want to participate in that. Some years we have it, some years we don't. It's really about interest. So we offer 9U, 10U, 11U, 12U, and kind of a 13, 14U Sliders program if there's interest. And then for Coyotes, we offer 10U, 11U, and 12U. The 10U is new as of a couple years ago. There was just a tremendous amount of interest in the community to start a little bit earlier. We have been asked to go earlier than that, and I think right now our stance is 10U is where we want to be as an organization and as a community. 9U we feel is a little young. We want them to still, experience, baseball at the house level, and then if they're, talented enough, play in the Sliders program. But we're really proud of what we offer across the three.
Yeah, and parents, be careful what you wish for in that. You don't want to be playing full-time travel baseball at 9 years old. You have all of these years going
You're absolutely
crazy.
You're absolutely right. And part of the Sliders program in North 60 is you have to play in-house. So you're really on two teams. You're on your house team, and then you moonlight as a slider on Fridays and really Sundays. Because Saturdays is still house baseball. So they don't practice a ton with their Sliders teams because they're practicing so much with their house teams. Mm-hmm. And then they play these, games on Fridays and Sundays. They get some practices in, and then they play about 3 tournaments a year. One of them, which we're really proud of, is the AJR tournament, the Alex John Richardson tournament, and it's a big part of our organization and our community. So,
which is wonderful. Okay, I have 2 questions for you, Say, because there's another thing. Even coaching last year and talking to the kids that have either tried out, whether they made it, whether they didn't. When you say 9U, 10U, okay, does that go by their birthday? Does it go by the level of school that they're in?
Well, so it's actually both, right? So the reason it has the 9U moniker is because USSSA, which is the governing body that we follow for baseball, will have an established age parameter. Now, it's pretty broad, but if you're outside of that age parameter, it doesn't matter what grade you're in, you can't play in events with that team.
Okay.
We tend to follow the grade level model. So it's the age level parameter within the grade level model because we have such strong partnerships with the high schools, right? So it's groups of players that are going to be passing through our organization and then ultimately playing for their feeders, ultimately playing for their high schools. It's, there's no perfect way to do it.
Right.
And we have had exceptions where a kid will be playing a grade level down on a team because they're younger or, vice versa. But it's very, very rare, and it would require, fairly special circumstances.
Sure. So like a 9U would be 3rd grade, right? 3rd grade.
Yeah, the 9U Sliders team this year are 3rd graders.
Gotcha. That's what I wanted to try to understand because, and what you say, and I like that you do it for grade-wise because you get to play with your friends. Right.
Yeah.
And these are your teammates you can play with all through high school.
It's the most important thing is play with your friends, develop those relationships. Honestly, that's why I think the GNBC model and the RBC model at 13U is so important because these other towns, they go off. Once we kind of age out at the Coyote level for travel, these other towns, they still have dad coaches and so forth at the 13 and 14U level, whether it be Lightning or others. And again, great organizations, they do really good jobs in development, but we're really proud of what we have in our community, being able to funnel these kids to their high school programs at that age level, and they still play with their friends.
which is great. And they can play with them from the time that they're 4 and 5 years old in T-ball all the way through their high school experience.
I think it's important to note, like, it's for the benefit of the player, right? So I had a parent call me last fall, when travel teams were sort of being made, and said, hey, my son got this offer to go to a local travel team, one that's well known. They want him to play down a year, and they want him as a pitcher. Good opportunity, good program, high-level team, right? But the kid's like 11 years old. So you're specializing, you're taking him away from his peer group, and what are you doing then for his development and his future, as a high school player, if you take away his ability to play and learn at this age? So we're trying to keep the groups together simply to benefit the kids and their future experience.
It's often said that those who fail to plan are planning to fail. Joe Velez and his team at JPV Financial create unique financial plans that address some of the most difficult challenges that people might face as they get older. No matter what stage of life you're in, having a proactive financial plan can help navigate some of the difficult decisions you'll face, helping you live your life by design, not default. Securities and investment advisory service offered through Osaic Wealth Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
They all develop at different ages. They all hit puberty at different ages. We have a great example of my oldest son's Coyote team, a young man that was really a corner guy, all of a sudden he kind of hit that age thing a little differently than some others, and now he's playing an outfield position, and he's arguably the fastest kid on the team and one of the most athletic.
Isn't that awesome?
Right? And it's just, if you would have asked me when we were Coyotes where that kid was going to play in high school, it wasn't going to be where he's at right now.
Right.
And it's just so important that these kids develop at different times, and they'll get there.
Yeah.
And
I think this is a good opportunity, because you and I were talking a little bit before I got in here, and talking about some parents get really frustrated or down, or they think it matters of their kid's status or whatever at 9 or 10 years old, whether they make sliders or not, and moving on to Coyotes, that through the state runner-up team, Will Schufreider. Will Schufreider, I think, as everybody knows the story. Love Will, love his family, and Will's playing with Max at CLC now, and he's going on to play further in college baseball. He did not play for Coyotes. He did not play any travel baseball all through. And to give encouragement to young kids out there that might think you're down on yourself, there's no time where you can't do it because you didn't play travel, right? It's a clean slate when you walk into high school, no matter where you're going.
I think Will's story is, he's a unicorn in so many ways in this day and age, right? And Matt knows we've used him as an example. I don't personally know Will, but I know the story through Troy and through Jeff and others, and we use him as an example all the time when we talk to parents, because, the worst part of our jobs is the tryouts for sliders and Coyotes. When we have to make cuts, it's gut wrenching. It's the worst thing we do. We're really proud of how we go about the process, because we have evaluators that are not fathers or mothers. They're not board members. We facilitate the process, but we have individual evaluators from both schools. So we're really proud of that, but it's the worst time of year that when we have to cut a young man, and then we have to talk to their parents. And one of the things we talk about, when you do have to have that conversation, is this is not the end of their baseball journey, right? If you don't make a 9U slider team or a 10U Coyote team, it's not the end of your baseball journey. They feel like it in that moment, and oftentimes it takes days and weeks to understand there's more to it than just this tryout, but it's tough.
Yeah, and parents. I know it's hard for you guys to believe, but a lot of parents think their kid is the best athlete on the planet. I tell people that, going through, and I've got to see, oh my God, baseball drama between parents is absolutely insane, right? It's crazy. But, looking back, and somebody who's been through it, it's easier for me to say, but I was talking to a woman the other day, and I said, really need to be realistic, right? And the way that you act as a parent transfers in what your kid thinks, right? And whether your kid makes the team and his best friend doesn't, the way that they communicate with their kids, so they're not putting somebody else down, or like, oh my God, he's a Coyote kid, or he's a slider kid. It doesn't make any difference, right? These kids need to know how to get along and rise each other up.
And they're going to play together. Most likely, the slider kids and the house kids and the Coyote kids, at some point in time, whether it's 13, 14, or freshman baseball and on, they're going to play together. They're going to be teammates. What I'm proud of, and I know Matt would agree with this, is, branding the Sliders logo and seeing it around town, and the Coyote logo and all that stuff is really cool. But seeing those kids interact when they're on the basketball court and they're all teammates. And then they're at school, and it doesn't matter if you're a Coyote or you're a Slider or you're a house player. They're kids. It's the parents that kind of, create sometimes that hierarchy with things.
Absolutely.
But the kids, they're pure. They really are, and I think that's really cool to see in whatever sport they're participating in.
Yeah, and I think the parents, if nothing else, the whole reason that we're sitting here today, if somebody listening takes this out of this to tell their friend, or if you are a baseball parent, that we need to be adults about this stuff, and this is about children's development. Right?
Yeah, I think I want to be careful that it doesn't sound like we're spending our hour kind of bagging on parents, right? Because
no. Actually, I'm the one that is doing it. You guys aren't.
The support that we get from parents is tremendous. I probably have 30 seasons of coaching youth sports. I'm not that old. Well, maybe I'm getting a little old, but I've coached softball, baseball, soccer, basketball, you name it, right? I can't coach ice hockey because I don't know how to skate, but, everything else, right? So 99% of the parents that I have personally dealt with across all of this time have been amazing, right? And they become assistant coaches, and they become team parents, team manager type roles. They help set up the fields. I've worked with people that have never played baseball at all that become assistant coaches and are hugely valuable. So most of the parents that we deal with are great. And even the ones that are not particularly great tend to be coming to this from a point of view that, hey, we want the best for our kid. Why are you telling me there's a ceiling on what he can be? And, frankly, we're not telling you that. And happy to engage with any parent who wants feedback from us. The one thing I tell people, I didn't play high level baseball. Everything I know about coaching youth baseball comes from having coached youth baseball. So it's all experience at this level, right? So I didn't coach a Coyotes team. I never have. I've never had a kid play on a Coyotes team. But I've coached more in-house baseball than just about anybody. Right. So if we can give that experience back to you, this is what the decisions that you're going to be making are, the impacts that they're going to have in your kids' development and the options that are available to them. That's all we want to be able to do.
Right. And you guys do have a lot of options for all skill levels, all age levels, all the way through.
And there are many outside options. And, frankly, if there's a reason why your kid should be playing at one of these outside options, we're at a point now in youth sports where there are national travel teams in baseball, which, don't get me started, it's a ridiculous idea. But occasionally you might see a kid who comes along who would be better served by going to a National Development Academy program. If I ever see one, I will tell him that. Right? We're not trying to keep kids in GYBA for our purpose. This is something we're trying to give to the community.
Absolutely.
Right. I think it's really important to know too, we're not the best option for everyone, and we're okay with that. Right? We know who we are, and like I said, we offer the 3 levels of programs. There might be a reason why another program's a better fit for you, and that's okay. And we'll be happy to talk to you about it too, and maybe help steer you in that direction based on what you're looking for. Sure. We really want the best for the kids, and I think, Matt, what you said about the parents is so true.
Looking for a place where there's always something happening? Welcome to the Grayslake Village Center. Whether you're planning a family outing, a date night, or a fun night out with friends, the Village Center has something for everyone, year-round. Enjoy a fantastic mix of restaurants, unique retail shops, and exciting events that bring the community together. And just steps away, you'll find Central and Jelliton Parks, home of the library, aquatic center, skate park, senior center, and numerous recreational opportunities. Whew, that's a mouthful. So if you're looking for something to do, come explore, dine, shop, and play right here in the heart of Grayslake. Find out more at GrayslakeVillageCenter.com. And go check them out on social media and give them a like, give them a follow.
One thing maybe you didn't touch on is the friendships that you gain. Some of our best friends in the community are families that we met through youth sports. And that's incredible. Not only just the kids, but the parents, right? And you're right. There's so many parents that just do so much more. We couldn't do this without them, right? Truly.
Volunteering at any level, I always say you're going to find like-minded people. You're going to get more out of it. The more you put in is unbelievable. Half of my best friends right now I coached Pinto with or Mustang with
100%.
or all the way
Yep.
through. And you have that connection, and it's just about family. It's about community. It's about bringing everybody together. So shout out to anybody that is considering whether they want to be an assistant coach or coach of baseball. Sign up. Go help out other coaches. That's what makes the world go round,
and
right?
we can't stress enough how much you don't need experience, right? Sometimes people are like, there's an intimidation factor because they didn't play baseball, or, frankly, they think they can't play because they can't coach because they're a mom and not a dad, right? We have mom assistants all the time. We would love to have them. Being an assistant coach for Pinto baseball does not require baseball expertise. We can arm you with all of the tools that you will need to help out. And as Tim alluded to earlier, the coaching clinics with the high school guys are amazing. When Troy and Eric held coaching clinics, they're massively attended. They're massively valuable, like even to guys that have been coaching for years. And that's, again, it's a very unique resource that we have in this community, is that the community is so interconnected. Not to switch gears, but we meant to talk about the Park District before.
Yes, please.
Another aspect that Grayslake benefits from that a lot of others do not, and Tim knows this better than I do because he's been all over the place with the Coyotes teams. We have the best fields in the state of Illinois, particularly the best Park District fields in the state of Illinois. You go to these places and communities that you would expect based on, sort of socioeconomic factors would have these amazing facilities, and they just don't. And what we have in Grayslake are just some of the most incredible facilities that are almost entirely maintained by our Park District, outside of JC, where I've spent far too many hours, with shovels and pumps. But our fields are incredible, and they're incredible because the Park District offers this to us. So it's a big deal.
Big shout out to Joe and Brett from the Park District. We really couldn't do a lot of the things we do without their help and their support. And it goes to the AJR tournament too, which is a full weekend, and they've got guys out there all weekend, helping drag fields and do all the stuff to get the kids out there ready to play. So big shout out to them.
Yeah, it's amazing. Park District does a great job. And for the actual cost of what it costs to sign your ball player up for an entire spring season coming up is minimal.
Absolutely.
It really
is. That's part of why the Grayslake community, I don't know if this is a secret, but we pay kind of high property taxes in this town.
You're kidding me, man.
But I tell people I don't care because I'm the number one consumer of Grayslake amenities, right? I have 5 kids in our incredible public school system, so we benefit from it greatly. And one of the ways we benefit from it is the Park District facilities are amazing. And we, as an organization, pay a very low affiliate fee to get access to those facilities, and that's then passed down to our membership. And the reason why we're cheaper, frankly, than every other competing option, even at the in-house level, is because it costs us less to be on these fields.
Which is great. And that's good information to know because, people always say, even with travel baseball, oh my God, it's $1,500. I don't even know what it is now, right, to do that. But the things that they don't take into consideration.
Well, shop around, right? So my son played outside travel baseball for a few years. And we played for an organization that had to rent their fields from a park district that they were not affiliated with. And our cost was roughly double what a Coyotes player pays, simply because of what it costs them and there's other things that go into it, right? But the cost of the fields is a huge driver of that.
Right. It's amazing, right? I want to talk about one thing that I think is the highlight of Grayslake baseball. And I know that we were just talking about this too, because I don't like to say the C word. But COVID ruined that. Cooperstown, the C word, Cooperstown. Like Cooperstown may be one of the best if you're able to have that experience. I want you guys to talk a little bit about that because I got to go through it, and seriously, it's a highlight for the kids to remember for their whole lives.
Well, Coach is going this year, so let me...
Yeah. So my oldest, Brennan, he did not get to go to Cooperstown for his Coyote age group, just because of the COVID stuff and what New York was mandating at the time, vaccinations for kids, and they weren't even available. So we pivoted. We went to Myrtle Beach and had just an amazing experience.
Okay.
And did the pin trading and all that fun stuff. And this year I'm fortunate enough to coach Colton, my youngest, and we're going to Cooperstown, and I manage that team. So I'm in the middle of, creating pins and, parent meetings on fundraising and, all that fun stuff. But just an amazing thing that GYBA has is that bid to Cooperstown that we've had for, I think, a better part of 20 years.
Yes.
And every year we send teams out. There's only been 2 teams that I know that did not go, both because of COVID. So Jeff Wood's youngest, Carson's age group and Velez's group, and then our group didn't get to go. But I know Matt went with his.
So my son went with his other team, and it is truly incredible. Like the experience of being there. I mean, it's crazy because they do it every week for the entire summer, but you feel like it's this unique experience that only you and your kids are getting to have.
It's a very good way to explain it.
It's a bit like going to Disney World in that, like, while you're there, it's this, amazing thing, but then there's another group coming in next week.
Right.
But the boys get to stay in bunkhouses. They get some freedom for the first time from their parents. Like, we rented a house in downtown Oneonta, and we're away from the boys, and then just going to the facility for these games every day. It's an incredible experience. There are highs and lows in travel baseball, and there are times where you're really going to hate having to go on the road. This is not one of them. This is a truly incredible experience in an amazing place.
Most people have no idea what to do with their aging loved one who needs help. Well, there is a solution. A company that provides care and assistance to make your loved one feel right at home. At Right at Home, their mission statement is to improve the quality of life for those they serve. They offer extensive services: personal and companion care, safety supervision and transportation, fall prevention, dressing and bathing assistance, medical reminders, meal prep, hospice support, ambulation support, stroke recovery, Parkinson's support. The list goes on and on and on. If you have an aging loved one that needs help, call Right at Home. Most people prefer to age in their home rather than moving to an assisted living or nursing home. Right at Home can make this happen. Contact Right at Home at rightathome.nlc.com or give them a call, 847-984-0103. Now back to the show. Okay, and the one thing that I took out of it too, and everybody that goes, when you think your kid is a superstar, you go to Cooperstown and you come home and like, well, that was humbling. Wow. You get to play the Texas teams and
Sure.
Why is a 6'4" kid out here at the field?
Some of these teams, fly kids in for the weekend to pitch, and
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's that's what we tell people. We're a community-based organization. We are going there not necessarily to win Cooperstown. Sure, that would be an amazing icing on the cake, right? But the reality is it's the experience. It's the mecca of baseball, right? You get to go to the museum, you get to be there, wear the red and the blue jersey, and just all those experiences, right? That's really what it's about. You're with your 11 best friends.
Exactly. I wonder if I asked these kids what their record was there, if they know. Like when they don't know if they win or I know that we won one and we almost won another, and they remember that we won one. That's all we cared about. That was great. They got a W.
I always find it really cool. I know Central does this. I'm sure North does too. But they kind of broadcast on social media, with the seniors of what was your favorite baseball experience.
I know.
And how many kids say playing with my friends and going to Cooperstown. I think for an organization like us, the one thing that we can control, right, is playing with your friends. And giving you that option. Cooperstown, obviously, there's 12 kids at the 12U level that get to go for Grayslake. But those are really cool stories to read back when these kids are seniors. It's not winning a regional and not winning a sectional, which both schools tend to do. It's playing with your friends and going to Cooperstown.
Yeah. And the bunkhouse thing you mentioned is really cool. And as a parent, when you have to spend all this money and you go rent a house, that means you parents have a little freedom, is what I heard you say.
Well,
not the kids.
So
I got a little freedom.
I went as a spectator. Tim's going as a coach.
Oh yeah, you're going to have a different experience.
Very different experience.
Enjoy the bunkhouse.
Yeah. Air conditioning for the first time this year, so I feel like I won the baseball lotto.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's really cool. Okay, so I know we talked about, I'm glad that you guys talked about Park District, because with the tax dollars we pay and all of these fun things, to see a community come together, and I think it's a good, refreshing thing to remind people to use the facilities that are given to us in these tax dollars.
Absolutely.
We have a ton of things to do in this town, I don't care where you live, but to use those, and it keeps costs like that down as well, because it really is a community of things. I know we're getting towards an hour. I know you have a couple things you want to say, but I want to know a little bit about rivalry, because this is the first time you guys have been in the same room since the incident. There's no incident. We had a fun text message going on, and there's a little bit of a rivalry. I want to at least talk about.
Well, I will tell you. You could only have rivalries with good friends, right? And when Tim and I were coming through Mustang, there's a couple other guys.
I think it started in Pinto, Matt.
Well, but a couple other guys who coached teams. Greg Marshall, who I'm sure will listen to this, was another one who was a friend and a rival that we went through this with. Only one of us has won a Mustang championship. I mean, let me just be very clear about this. Now, that guy might have won more than one. I don't know. But only one of us has won a Mustang championship.
This is true.
I wonder who that one is.
Yeah.
Well, it's a matter of public record. The blemish on that public record is, and a lot of people don't know this because he's very humble. Tim has beaten me in every head-to-head matchup in our entire coaching career, and there's probably about 12. The only time my team beat his, I was out of town for work, and we won like 12-0, and I wasn't there for the game.
Yeah, it didn't count.
Every time we've bumped into each other.
Common denominator there, though, I think.
Yeah, poor coaching. And we always joke about the greatest game ever played, which was the Pinto Championship that Tim won. I don't even know how many years ago was that. And there's like 12 high school baseball players that have come from that one game that we played against each other in Pinto. That Tim, I don't know how he pulled it off, but Tim ended up winning that one.
Yeah, that was a big one.
This is why I love baseball. You guys are talking about a Pinto championship between first and second graders,
It was a really good Pinto championship.
But I remember the same kind of stuff. It's great.
Yeah, Brennan Mueller had a walk-off in that game, so he probably remembers that one.
It was a big one.
That's great. And see, that's why I just love baseball. It's just so fun talking to people. People that don't love baseball as much as like us three guys do, they just don't get it. But it's a big deal. It's life.
Yeah,
what it is.
It's funny because like when you're doing it, it does seem really important, and then it kind of fades, and it's just.
And I'll tell you, it goes by so fast, and it's so cliche to say, and we've heard it from folks that are older than us, but enjoy every minute of it, because before you know it, your kid's in high school, and soon to be out of high school, and Dave, you've got your oldest, Max, who's playing at the college level. It goes by so fast. Enjoy it.
It's unbelievable, and to get the opportunity to redo it again. Like, I'm going to agree with, but Mustang years of baseball with me and like still be drinking beers or sitting with some of my best friends. We could talk for days about Mustang baseball.
We can and we do.
Right, exactly. And the fun thing is that I think that enthusiasm and positivity is so contagious to the kids too that I think we remember it better than they do sometimes. All they remember is that
probably right.
Right? And that was before, I think when Max was going through, we just first got Game Changer then. So every stat we had to take, like, I have the scorebooks piled up in my garage so that I could go back and look up these kids and what they did, like Pinto year. It's just, why is it
we have absolutely
like that?
Gone back into Game Changer and referenced specific moments in games while at emails.
Of course, then you have to.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving to this weekend, the first calls to action. As somebody listens to this, if you're not, I apologize because I'm not even signed up yet. We should be signed up for spring baseball right now.
That's right.
So everybody, if you're signing up your kid for baseball, do it right now. And I believe it's done through.
So it's the website is GYBAonline.org.
Okay.
Everything comes through the website. So we do have, active presence on socials. They're not really monitored. Please don't ask questions to the Facebook page. We won't see it or have time to get to it.
Good point.
All of the contact information for all of the board members is on the website as well. So if you're entering Pinto, save yourself time and email Tom Scoverin, right? If you're entering Mustang, email Gio, right? You'll get direct answers to direct questions. As opposed to filtering it through one of us.
Right.
You could always email Tim or I, and we'd be happy to help you, but it's going to be simpler and faster. Just in terms of looking at what's going to be coming up. So, registration is open now. We're doing evaluations on Sunday the 23rd. We're going to choose teams, I think it's March 10th, whatever the Sunday is of that weekend. First draft, Tom is always kind enough to let us go upstairs and hash out our drafts. So another place that has supported us greatly over the years. So we'll have the draft at first draft. Mustang and Bronco are selected via coach draft. Pinto is selected by the Pinto director, making an informed decision about how best to balance the teams. We will do our best to honor parent-player requests. I want to be with my friend. I have a carpool, whatever it is, particularly at Pinto. We're going to try to make that work for you. No guarantees. So you'll be notified that week, that middle week of March, in terms of who your coach is, what your team is, what you can expect. We will start practicing, weather permitting, on or about the 1st of April. So we'll get out of the fields right at the beginning of April. Opening day is likely to be that last weekend of April. Again, April is very finicky from a weather perspective.
Absolutely.
We've had years where we've lost the entire month.
Sure.
So we will try to have opening day like the 3rd weekend of April, and your season will end no matter what before the 4th of July.
Gotcha. Okay. That's good information to have. Yeah. Okay, so 2 other things I want to give just for fun. What is your thought about kid having a sliding glove in Mustang?
Oh, God.
We could talk all day about this. I've had a lot of conversations with Coach Tisch about the sliding glove. It's drip, I guess. It's cool. That's what they like. But I'll tell you, at our Coyote level, we look at it and we call from the dugout. We're throwing over with a kid with a sliding glove, because 9 out of 10 times they're more concerned about that.
Right.
So,
and anybody listening that doesn't know what the rules of Mustang are, you can't head first slide,
right?
And it's made to slide in head first.
If you don't know what a sliding glove is, it's an oven mitt that gets tied to your hand, basically.
Absolutely. If you don't know what a sliding glove is, don't buy one. That's what I'm going to say.
Kids, so baseball's a swaggy sport, and getting more so.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Like, paint jobs on bats and special batting gloves. And you know what? Like, if you want to express yourself, go for it, right? I have a kid on my sliders team, great young man, covers himself head to toe in swag every time I see him. He's got like 1 green crock and 1 yellow crock. And he's a great kid, and he just loves doing that, right? So if you want to be that way, I encourage it. Have some personality.
Right.
But don't feel like you are compelled to have, particularly in in-house baseball, top of the line equipment.
So I don't need Bruce Bolts at the.
Well, you probably do need Bruce Bolts.
I mean, I wear them around the house,
but
with my oven mitt.
We follow the USA Bat standard. Okay, so if you're not super into equipment, the USA Bat standard is a methodology that's intended to deaden baseball bats. We're trying to simulate the performance of wood. There is no difference between any bat that has a USA stamp on it. You can spend $400 for a bat from Marucci. You can spend $32 for an aluminum bat that you got on Sideline Swap. If it says USA Bat, it's the same bat. It's designed for that purpose.
This is good information for parents, all kidding aside. This is a big deal.
Do not buy an expensive bat for in-house baseball. Now, if you're a 12U Coyote, you probably already know, like, there's some crazy stuff out there, and there's vastly different performance in some of those travel bats. But you're not allowed to use travel bats in GYBA. So don't buy one. Don't spend a lot of money on it. And whatever you do, don't take the wrapper off until you show it to your coach. Because, like, we'll get kids, and it breaks your heart. Like, I had a kid whose grandmother bought him, like, a Cat X, right? And if you don't follow equipment, it's a $400 bat. Showed up to our game in the fall with a Cat X, excited as can be, can't use it. It's an illegal bat. So, show your coach before you take the wrap off, please.
Yeah. Wow. Something we talk about at registration with parents, and we bring in examples of what's what and what can be used at each level. And I think we even have a chart on the web page that helps parents, because it's a big financial burden. Right. But it also is finding a bat that the kid is comfortable with. Sure. Sometimes that's half the battle. Right. They like their bat. They're more maybe apt to swing it.
Right. So. And it's funny because it's just one of those things that starts in life that you don't have to keep up with the Joneses just because one of the kids has a $400 bat to go out that performs the same way. Yep. Right. I said the best kids that I've ever seen play baseball, you can give them a $4 bat and they're going to outperform the kid with a $500 bat every day of the week.
Or the Mustang player that can barely squeeze the glove that's got an A2000 that takes a good year to break in, right?
And no one's throwing the ball hard enough back to him to break it in anyway.
You got it. Yeah, there's time for that. There is. Exactly. There's time for that.
So don't get too excited. I think a good thing to take out of this is just they're kids, right? And let's treat them that way. And
well, be happy you play baseball, because my son's hockey sticks are $400 and he has 3 of them and they break. So,
well, bats do too, I guess, right?
Yeah, hockey's an expensive sport.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing, word of advice, parent listening right now. I know that we talked the difference. It's an evaluation. It's not a tryout. advice that you give to parents how to talk to their kid before they go to an evaluation?
I'd love to take this one. I think, as parents, we're harder on our own kids than maybe we are on the others that we coach. But I think there's something that you really have to stay positive with them. So before going to this evaluation, encourage them. Have them start thinking about maybe what they're going to see in the evaluation from a hitting or grounders or fly balls, maybe going over some things of, calling the ball when it's in the air, right? Using two hands, getting your glove on the ground, some of the basics. And if you help them and encourage them, help us get that hook in them to love the sport. When you're critical or why didn't you think of this? Or, when you get in a car and the first thing you do is kind of go negative, that's their experience. And again, I think as an organization, we're really trying to get them to love the sport. Mm-hmm. That's our goal. If they find love in the sport like we do, right, they're going to work harder at it. Yeah. They're going to think more about it and want more. And ultimately that's awesome, because then we feed both these great high schools, kids that are hungry and they want more and they love the sport. And then, Troy and Eric can shape them into what they want as a high school baseball player. So be positive with them. I know it's hard. I'm a parent. I'm a coach. But the more positive you are, the better off you'll be.
So maybe when they get in the car, not how did you do? Did you have fun?
Did you have fun?
Yeah. Well, and to piggyback that, encourage them to be coachable, right?
Yes.
The kid that's energetic with a smile on their face, whether or not they succeed, is going to get more attention. Coaches are human, right? The kids that are trying are the ones that are going to get more attention.
So. Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, right?
And I'll tell you, the kid that walks up to you after practice and says, "Thanks, coach," you'll never forget that. We don't do that to get the thanks. We do it because we love it and we want to help develop the kids, but boy, you do remember the kid that walks up to you and says, "Thanks, coach. I appreciate it."
Absolutely.
It means a lot.
It does. And the parents that actually do that. Right?
Yeah. And
it's kind of cool just thanking somebody for their time when they're volunteers and teaching your kid to do that. It's a big deal, right?
It's just something that you want them to take in life, right? With whatever they do, whether it's baseball or a job or, an interview.
I love it. Anything else you guys want to mention?
No, I think that's great. I think the closing point I would make is just GYBA is for everybody. You can be a boy, you can be a girl, you can be first-time players. We're happy to have you. It's a good place for a kid to kind of explore and grow. There's not a lot of pressure associated with it. So come try it, and then we'll see where you go.
I'd like to thank you, Dave, for having us.
Very well.
I think what you do is amazing. Listen to a lot of your podcasts. So having us on this forum is really cool. I'm a little disappointed it's taken so long, but we could talk about that over a beer. But a couple other thank yous. We mentioned the Park District multiple times. Can't do it without them. We mentioned both high school coaches. We can't do it without both Troy and Eric. GNBC and RBC, great partners of ours as well. The community is so important. We have such an amazing community. It's such a supportive community. And we talked about the parents a little bit. Help us help you and your child. And then lastly, I know both Matt and I talked about this. A big thank you to our families. We couldn't do some of the volunteering that we do without some family sacrifices. Can be difficult at times, but they allow us to do these great things to kind of help the kids in our community. And then, our fellow board members too,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of countless hours, putting plans together to make sure that we have the best organization in Lake County. So I think we are accomplishing those things.
Yeah. And thank you guys, because I don't think a lot of people understand that. Okay, so it's coming to baseball season from April till 4th of July and after. You guys aren't going on vacation the weekend. You're not going to a family reunion on a Saturday. You guys are sacrificing to help other people's children as well. So thank you for everything you guys do.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a lot of fun. Thank you, Dave.
Hey, Grayslake, thank you guys so much for listening again. No matter where you guys are listening, whether you're on Apple, whether you're on Spotify, whether you're on iHeartRadio, YouTube, wherever you're at, do me a favor and subscribe. And I always tell people, listen to people that you don't know, because I think it's a great way to build community, is to find out about different businesses, because I shop at all kinds of different places now because I get to know them. And I really think we need to keep and shop local and support everybody in the community. And as we always end, get out there today. We never know what our family, our friends are going through. So get out and do 1, 2 different random acts of kindness today, whether it's holding the door for somebody, smiling at the cashier at the dollar store. Somebody might be having a crappy day. So you can make a difference in the way we act towards each other. And like we said, say thank you to your coaches. Say thank you to your teachers. Just be good humans. Kindness spreads like wildfire. So Grayslake, thank you very much for listening. Gentlemen, thank you guys again. And we'll see you next Tuesday, everybody.